Hi, National Valley Studios here. We just talked about this in behind the scenes thing, but we didn't exactly show the image that is being done. So this is like one of the images that I'm designing for one of the pages. Because Treasure Tales are quite short, 16 pages total, and there's only 4 to 6 images on a page. Well, images, but sometimes they're scattered all over in pieces. But as far as like distinct things to show on the page, and one of them is this character Genma. He's the third guardian of the tale, traveling, and the way he travels is by these snake-like trainish things that are more. They're really based on the physical attributes of what the Dreyray are, but which is what the story is based around.
What's a Dreyray?
A giant, massive underwater serpent thing, and these trains are the physical representation of that, because the Mixed Masters world where Dreyray are, this story is a metaphor for that story. So yeah, Genma is traveling. So trying to cram as many details of the world into a single page as possible. So you end up with, it's all white lines right now, but here's like the Dreyray body and head or whatever, but it's more just a train that's going, and then it goes over a hill, and then it goes into the distance behind a bunch of coral reefs that are stacked up that are caused by the trees. So you'd see all these coralish shape. They're not actually coral reefs, but they're these shapes of solidified material made by the energy of the trees that pass through. The trees of fire are these giant balls of kind of tendril-like inky explosions in constant motion that people make by discarding excess energy that they bring into the world but don't use. And these things tear through the landscape. And then you build these railways through this landscape, and it makes for a pretty cool setting of how they get around and travel long distances in their world on these vehicles. So you have this snake body, and then if it's a super zoomed out image, like the character would be in one of these tiny little vehicles, like a little dot, and they travel through from these little cities on the outside, connect up with these, which carry multiple of them. So there's multiple little tiny cars in this one bigger car. So the little cars come from the city, go under roads and things into a little depot, and then start driving towards this area to connect up with this, and then these connect up with this as it's flying by, and they connect into these sides here. And so this is like a cross-country, long-distance thing that's constantly going throughout pretty much entire, all the landmass that humans have occupied. These things go more between cities, or like longer destinations that aren't crossing massive areas, but say, several hundred kilometers or something like that. And then these little cars would be the things that you drive around in cities. So if you want to go longer distances, you just hook up your little car to the bigger car and then pop off in your little car to the next spot. And if you want to go even further, these things are all automated and traveling their distances and regions all the time, so you can always just, it's almost like a bus system for rapid paced vehicles, and yeah that's just accessible to anyone. They just pop in and out whenever they need to go anywhere, and really fast. So Genma within like a day crosses the planet by land in little cars while making stops along the way and hanging out with people, and it's all powered by humans, just the energy that they bring into the world and then use to power these things, and then discard it at the end of these little capsules to make energy entities. And that's what Genma's going around trying to figure out what to do with all this discarded energy, and that's kind of his story in the tale. So, yeah.